Hi, everyone. Welcome to another week of Project Nazareth. This week, you're going to cover with your children that central truth of our faith, that Jesus is risen, that Jesus conquered death in the resurrection, that he is forever, body and soul, living, and his body is glorified. And we see that ability of the glorified body in different ways. We see it when Jesus comes to the apostles. They're in the upper room, the door's locked, and yet somehow he comes through the door to them. And yet he proves it's really his body by eating with them. That he is proven that in his glorified state, he's in one place and then appears somewhere else to others. And others saying they have seen him. And then it's appearing, he appears to many of his followers, many of his disciples. In the tradition of faith, we hold that most likely the first person he appeared to would have been Mary, his mother. And because she's so perfectly caught up in his very life, in the purpose of his mission of bringing us redemption. But the Gospels specifically mention that the first person that sees him is Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene and the other women went to the tomb that Sunday morning, that Easter Sunday, to anoint his body, because they didn't have time to finish the burial rite on Good Friday when he died, because it was soon getting dark, and that's when the Passover began, and they can't do any forms of labor work on the Passover. That Mary Magdalene sees him. You have the two disciples who left Jerusalem, that they obviously knew about his death and overwhelmed with it, had very heavy hearts. And yet then that Sunday, they had gotten word that Mary Magdalene had seen the Lord, and yet they don't really believe. And that's why they leave. They go to Emmaus. Jesus appears to them and walks with them and spends all day walking and talking with them, explaining the scriptures to them, about the signs of the Messiah. And then that evening, they ask him to stay with them, and he eats with them. And in the moment of the breaking of the bread, which would be a sign of the Eucharist, their eyes are open, and then he disappears. That he appeared to the apostles on Easter Sunday in the upper room. And then we know there were others that also testified that they had seen the Lord. But in his coming to them, to prove that he's not a vision, he's not a ghost, they get to all see him. They all hear him. They get to touch him. They eat with him. It's a way the Lord's putting them at ease to show it truly is him. It's his body. What does he do? In the upper room, he asks them for some food. That when Thomas, who wasn't there with the apostles, and when he came, they said, "We've seen the Lord." He didn't believe them. A week later, Jesus appears, and he tells Thomas, "Thomas, come, put your hand on my side. See and believe." And Thomas sees now in faith, because he goes beyond it, not only physically seeing the Lord, but then he says, "My Lord and my God." He's able to recognize even a greater truth of Jesus, that he truly is God. Or the apostles, after they've already seen the Lord. Remember, there's the third gospel account in the Gospel of John. They go back fishing, and then when they're on the shore, all of a sudden Jesus is on the shore, and they realize it's him, and they go to him, and then he eats with them. So there's all these ways that Jesus appears to different disciples, and to prove that he is alive. He's risen, he has conquered death, and he's calling us to life. That's all. Hope you have a great week and good lesson with your kids, and we'll see you soon.